The morning I discovered that the HOA had built 138 homes on my ranch while I was away was nothing short of surreal. I had been traveling overseas, handling some critical business, trusting my remote surveillance systems and automated security to maintain oversight. When I logged into my feed, I expected perhaps a few minor infractions, maybe some volunteers wandering the property, or Karen attempting a ridiculous stunt. Instead, my cameras revealed an entire construction site sprawled across the property. Rows upon rows of half-finished houses, foundation slabs laid, walls rising, and the unmistakable chaos of uncoordinated labor. Brent was there, wearing a fluorescent vest, waving a clipboard as if directing traffic, while Donut scurried behind him carrying tools that were clearly incompatible with any actual construction work. Karen herself hovered on a drone feed, narrating the scene like it was a live broadcast of a national emergency, proclaiming that the community finally owns its space. My initial reaction was calm, analytical. After all, the ranch was fully equipped with legal boundaries, surveillance, and remotely controllable systems. But the scale of their audacity was staggering. 138 homes built illegally on private property. I immediately activated my first measure, remote site lockdown. Automated barriers, already in place for authorized vehicles, extended to seal off construction zones, preventing further machinery from moving. Hydraulic locks on all access roads to the new structures engaged, immobilizing cranes, dump trucks, and even the small forklifts that volunteers somehow managed to operate. Brent shouted orders into the air, his voice drowned out by alarms triggered across the property, while Donut tripped over an exposed pipe, falling face first into a pile of cement, completely destroying his credibility. Karen shrieked into her drone camera, "This is theft! Illegal construction!" Meanwhile, I activated motion-triggered sprinklers that flooded certain foundation zones, making it impossible to continue pouring concrete without the risk of structural failure. The chaos quickly escalated. Untrained volunteers slipped and slid in wet mud. Cranes tipped slightly when sensors activated to warn of overload, and even the partially built houses shook as automated stabilizers engaged to prevent them from collapsing onto authorized ranch land. I observed everything remotely, sipping coffee, fully aware that the next step needed to be precise. I deployed automated retractable bollards that extended across secondary access routes, effectively trapping the uncoordinated crew inside the construction zones. Officers arrived within minutes after my automated alerts notified the local sheriff's office of massive trespassing, property interference, and illegal construction on private land. What they witnessed was pure chaos. Brent drenched in mud, Karen screaming from a scaffolding while filming herself, Donut wedged awkwardly between two half-finished walls, and volunteers panicking as automated systems immobilized cranes and trucks. Citations were issued instantly, equipment was confiscated, and the project was declared unsafe and illegal. Karen tried to argue, waving a clipboard with her so-called legal permits, but the officers shook their heads, clearly unimpressed. "You do not have any authority here. This is private property," the lead officer explained, documenting every violation. I then activated the final stage of my defense, automated demolition safeguards. Certain temporary scaffolding and partial walls were designed to collapse harmlessly if tampered with, preventing any further construction while ensuring no human was harmed. Slowly, the construction site became a scene of chaotic ruins, cement partially poured into flooded trenches, walls leaning absurdly, and machinery stuck in mud. A literal disaster caused entirely by the HOA's incompetence and hubris. By the time the sun set, my ranch had survived the attempted encroachment intact. The 138 houses were unusable, the HOA volunteers humiliated, and Karen, Brent, and Donut thoroughly defeated. Local media even caught wind of the fiasco, broadcasting headlines about the HOA's massive failed construction on private ranch, cementing their legacy of incompetence. I walked across the property that evening, boots crunching on gravel, Titan by my side, surveying the chaos with a calm satisfaction only someone fully prepared could feel. The lesson was clear. Any attempt by the HOA to assert authority on my property would be met with overwhelming force, meticulous planning, and absolute humiliation. My family, my land, and our operations remained untouchable, and Brentshire had learned, Yet again, that interfering with the ranch was a disastrous endeavor. Karen's empire of influence was crumbling, Brent's ego was in ruins, and Donut's comic failures were now legendary. I took a deep breath, watching the sunset over my untouched lake, reflecting that no matter how elaborate their schemes, they could never overcome preparation, intelligence, and precision.